So what's the assumption about the holidays? They're supposed to be joyful, right?
A Merry Christmas, everyone.
Way to go with the artificial holiday cheer. Way to go.
Well, you know, Josh, we had to take a break from our eggnog.
Yeah.
At the parents' house.
I like your sweater.
You like my
I like
sweater?
your sweater, yeah.
It says "Let it glow" on the bottom there. I don't see if you guys see it right there. Let it glow, and he's got like little lights.
Wow.
Lights that actually blink and all that stuff.
What a cool guy. Yep.
But I've had this for what, like 5-6 years now.
I think so.
Batteries are finally going on it.
Yeah.
So
We were doing a meeting with our staff earlier today, and did you know that America spends more money on ugly Christmas sweaters than on Christmas trees? Which I guess makes sense when you think about it.
if you get like a
We're more apt to buy an ugly Christmas sweater every year.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you probably $25, $30, $40, whatever. But if you get, but that's still wild though. I mean, you literally wear them once. I don't know. Some people wear. Well, I guess I haven't worn this one once. I wore this one a few times.
Yeah.
Just because as me as a CFO, I'm like, I don't want to spend the money on a new sweater each year.
So mine says no lift, no gift. Do you get a gift?
Swole.
Do you get a gift? That's the question.
Lifting what?
I think you know what I mean. I think you know what it means, John.
How frequently?
5 days a week.
No gift.
No gift?
No gift. Sorry. Do you get a gift?
I do, John. I do get a gift.
Josh, I applaud you for that. Good job.
But anyway, we're kind of poking fun. But you know, the ho-ho-hoing and all that stuff, which is all fun.
And the bowl full of jelly and the eggnog.
So what's the assumption about the holidays? They're supposed to be joyful, right? They're supposed to be merry.
They're great.
They're supposed to be full.
So many parties to go to.
Meaningful.
So many family events.
Emotionally meaningful.
Emotionally meaningful.
Yeah. But you know, there's a flip side to that. So, you know, we kind of project this artificial now it's time to be joyful all the time.
Joy,
Christmas,
joy.
Right? Yeah, it's like it's thrust upon us, and we kind of feel like we have to be super happy and super joyful all the time. But for a lot of people, and as you know, the holidays are a heavy time. And I don't mean heavy with depression, although that certainly impacts people. I'm not saying that everybody has loss and is going through a grief and is miserable. I think a lot of times the holidays are heavy with expectations, you know.
Yeah.
The expectation that the meal has to be just right, and the presents have to be perfect, and the tree has to be put up just the right way. We have to maintain these traditions and build memories and all these things.
It has to be just right. Otherwise, your son is going to never let you see the end of it.
Right.
You know.
And so along with the happiness and the excitement that comes along with it, there's that weight of expectations. And so if that's you this year, if that's anybody this year, you're not doing this season wrong and you're not broken. So it's important that we kind of talk about, you know, how do we handle the holidays? Because they're stressful. We talk about stress a lot on here. Holidays are stressful. They're fun, but they're stressful. For some people, they're not fun. But why do the holidays often feel so intense, regardless if they're the most perfect holiday season you've ever had over Christmas time and New Year's and Thanksgiving for that matter, or if it's the worst? Like, why do the holidays feel so intense? Most of us, when we get to the end of the holidays, we're like, over. We can all breathe. I always think to myself, on January 2nd of every year, the thought always enters my head. It's a habit now. I'm like, great. Now we can all get back to our regularly scheduled lives.
Yeah.
You know? I think we all have kind of that thought to some degree or another in a different way. But holidays amplify the emotion, particularly this holiday season with Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
They amplify emotion because they combine memory, family systems, expectation, and comparison. And when you put all that in a pot, it creates this kind of sense of heaviness and this sense of intensity. And psychology, this is where I geek out. Psychology calls this the contrast effect. Have you heard of the contrast effect before?
I have heard of it.
It's the difference between what we think the holidays should be and what they actually are. And what's so fascinating is the older we get, for a period of time at least, the less we appreciate the holidays. And why is that? Is because typically the holidays involve to some degree unmet expectations. Whereas if you look at little kids, young kids, they're just caught up in the moment. They're caught up in the magic of the holidays because it's different and it's fun, and they don't have all that weight of expectation. When my youngest son right now, he's just enjoying the Christmas season. He doesn't have any expectations. I mean, he expects probably to get presents, but that's exciting. But he has no expectations about the prime rib having to be perfect on Christmas Day, or making sure that the memories are just right, and making sure the family photos are just perfect. He doesn't have those expectations. He just takes it in.
Right.
And that's kind of the challenge as we get older. Is there's that contrast effect where we have this idea of what the holidays should be, and then we compare that to what the holidays actually are. And then you add to it with the January 1st, we, for whatever reason, we put so much weight and value on the turning over of the new year, which I get.
This is the year, Josh.
So the end of the year reflection, it's kind of natural for us to look back. It can bring grief. It can bring awareness of change. It can also draw to attention of the unfinished business, or the things I wanted to accomplish that I didn't really accomplish at all.
Yeah.
So that brings some emotional intensity. But what's interesting is that I don't think the holidays actually create emotions at all. I think what it does is it turns up the volume on the ones that are already there. It ramps up the things that are already there, and it highlights them. For example, it's not uncommon for people that struggle with depression to feel more depressed over holidays. Well, it's because they're comparing. Part of the reason for that is that they're more aware of what's making them depressed during the holiday season than not. You think about
it's a loudspeaker for your emotions.
We're told that society tells us that holidays are a time for family, and you value family, and somehow family relationships during Christmas time are just supposed to magically be better during the Christmas season.
Right.
And we're, as human beings, we're aware of the contrast between what we're told by society should be the case and what's actually the case in our lives.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that everybody's family is horrible and everything's terrible, but it creates this unrealistic expectation on all of us.
Well, every family's got tension. Everyone does.
And then there's a pressure to always feel festive. But feeling less than festive doesn't mean that you're failing gratitude. It just means that you're human. We're all gonna have those times when we go through the holidays where we're just not feeling it.
Yeah.
And that just means that you're human.
It's okay to be a bah humbug every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's kind of rethink non-static during the holidays for a little bit. Cultural pressure pushes constant motion during the holidays. Shopping, hosting, performing, external displays of happiness, all those things. And it creates a lot of pressure. But I think it's also important to think of, like, when we talk about like this podcast and non-static in general, it doesn't mean hustling through December or forcing cheer. Sometimes having a successful holiday means not freezing emotionally, even if things slow down externally. So what I would encourage people to do is what I mean by that is to not put your emotions that you're experiencing, brush them aside, and then have this forced happiness. It means kind of acknowledging your emotions.
Oh, that's what you mean by freezing emotionally.
Yep. So when I talk about freezing emotionally,
putting negative emotions aside for now, because and it's Christmas season.
Yep.
It's time to be happy and cheery.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And so momentum during the holidays, we've been talking about momentum mechanics the past several weeks. Momentum during the holidays can look differently. It can look things like boundaries, resting over the holidays without guilt, showing up imperfectly. If the ham's not done just perfectly, it's okay, right? And being okay with the imperfections, because
there's a story about that.
Imperfections during the holidays can actually make it beautiful.
Yeah.
Or simply surviving the holidays with kindness is okay too, right? Sometimes we just want to survive them. It isn't interesting that we talk a lot about surviving the holidays. It would be, what if we just flip it on its end and just focus on enjoying the holidays rather than
conquering the holidays,
rather than put pressure on us that it looks a certain way or goes a certain way.
That's true. Like, why would you want
to enjoy it? Yeah.
Why would you want to survive the holidays? Why not? If what you're doing makes it feel like you're surviving, well, then just stop it.
Yeah. So
just stop.
Easier said than done.
Well, no, you know what I mean. I mean, I feel like I have to go to absolutely everything I'm invited to.
Right.
Well, usually I do, because at least right now I'm not really invited to a whole lot. But but back in the day, when I was invited to a lot of holiday stuff, I really wanted to go to all of them. But then at the same time, I didn't.
Right.
And then I would still go to them, and I'm like, was I glad that I went? Not really.
Yeah.
Just don't go or don't do something if it's too much.
So I'm gonna give people 3 gentle psychological anchors that they can use.
Okay.
During Christmas,
instead of just don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
As I think about this is going to be released on the week of Christmas. Maybe we should have released this earlier. But anyway, regardless,
it's either going to be released on Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
So we'll have to check with producer Jessica.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to give first one is permission to lower the bar. Every year it's easy to try to achieve this really high bar, and every year if we're not careful, that bar can get higher. It's we buy, for example, you buy your kids a gift that's really, really cool for one year. Sometimes there's a pressure that the following year you have to recreate that exact magic or standard or whatever, and so you're kind of always one-upping yourself, and that's where a lot of times you'll see people that get more and more elaborate gifts, which isn't sustainable. So that's kind of an example, but give yourself permission to lower the bar a little bit. I think the pursuit of perfection prevents us from enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
So sometimes a season doesn't need to be magical all the time. Sometimes it needs to be manageable. Not magical necessarily, but manageable.
Right.
And I'm not saying you can't enjoy it and have joy and take it all in, but just keep the bar realistically.
I don't think it should ever be. I don't think it should ever be really performative either.
Yeah. I agree.
That's really what it turns out to be.
Yep.
A lot of one-upsmanship.
Yep. And then I think it's important. This is a really big one. I would argue it's one of the more challenging one, is to name what the season actually is for you, and that can be different for each person. Each person, depending on what they're going through in life. So it's okay to name what the season actually is for you right now.
Mm-hmm.
For example, maybe this Christmas season is challenging. Maybe this Christmas season is difficult. Maybe this Christmas season is slow. Maybe this Christmas season is fast-paced. Naming it in reality, that reduces the internal conflict and frees energy. So rather than trying to force the hand and making it something that it shouldn't be, naming what it actually is kind of releases that internal tension.
Now I know this is just like this is a short period of the podcast, but what if you don't really know what to name the season? Like, what if you don't know what it is that you're feeling, you're experiencing, but you don't like it, or you do like it? Like, I don't know what this is. If you still want to try to identify what's going on there, what do you do?
Well, I think most people know what it is. Most people just don't want to put it to words. You know what I mean? So my first thing that came to mind when you were starting to describe that was
that would be overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed, exactly.
Yeah.
And what a lot of us don't want to do, myself included, is we wrestle with that because we don't want to put it out in the world, meaning we don't want to acknowledge that what we're actually experiencing with the holidays isn't what society says we should be experiencing.
And
There's
you're actually really it's real, it's reality.
Yeah. And so saying this holiday season is overwhelming is not in line with joy, peace, goodwill, all those things. And so I think naming it and being okay with it to some extent, it reduces that internal conflict. So I would argue, to answer your question, I would argue that most people know what it is. They just don't want to necessarily say it.
Sure.
Because if they say it, even though that is their reality, if they say it, somehow they're losing out, or somehow they're not falling in line with what society is telling you to do.
It's making it more real.
Yeah. And then the other. So we had permission to lower the bar, name what the season actually is for you, and then the third one is choose a small grounding ritual. When we're going through the fast pace of the holidays, time speeds up, and the reason time seems to be speeding up is because there's so much going on that we can't take it all in and can't process it efficiently, and so time feels like it's going very fast. But really, a grounding ritual is like a small, repeatable action that you can take care of for your nervous system. We've kind of talked about that in our previous podcast. It's kind of that micro resilience. Is what are some things that you can do to kind of lessen the cognitive load, the physiological load, or the emotional load that you carry. So trying to finding a grounding ritual, whether it's taking a deep breath or taking some time up for yourself to read, those kinds of things are really important.
Or just have another sweet glass of your uncle's homemade eggnog.
Yes. His eggnog is really, really good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's kind of like whipped cream, actually.
Oh, it's
delicious.
It's
hopefully he'll have it on Sunday. I don't know if he'll have it or not on Sunday.
I was gonna tell him to make sure he brings it, but this is gonna be after the holiday.
But that
party.
would be future us.
Yeah, it'd be kind of future us.
Yeah, trying to communicate with a past person via a digital venue. That's not. Yeah, it just wouldn't work.
Maybe I'll have Jessica cut something together and
cut it and send it.
Dr. Blake, get us the eggnog on Sunday.
Right. So, for anyone struggling this season, if the season is hard because of loss, change, loneliness, or exhaustion, hear it clear that you don't need to feel better to keep moving. It's okay to just get through the holidays and not try to put on an artificially happy face all the time. You don't need to feel better to keep moving. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily need closure during this holiday season. You don't need to reframe everything into gratitude. Sometimes staying in the moment and being successful over the holidays, it doesn't mean fixing your feelings or trying to feel something different. It means letting them move through you instead of getting stuck. Again, during the holidays, it's very easy for us to try to freeze our emotions, meaning not allow them to come through, because we're supposed to be feeling peace. We're supposed to be feeling hope. We're supposed to be feeling joy, according to what society says. But if we shove aside all of our other emotions or that we're going through in the moment, that's what's going to get us stuck, and it's actually going to make the holidays worse.
Yeah, I would say too. Not everybody, but I would say the majority of people who would be listening to this are going to be spending at some form or another with some time with their family,
sure,
friends,
or thinking about family and friends or lack thereof,
or was that?
Or spending time with family and friends, or thinking about their family and friends, or lack thereof, perhaps.
Right. Well, what I was going to say was, if you're feeling down, if you're just not feeling into the season, that's okay. And but you don't want people wondering, if someone asks, just say, "Hey, guys, just so you know, love you guys. I'm just not feeling myself right now."
Yeah.
And they may playfully push back or whatever. Or they may, be like, "Oh, come on, whatever. It's Christmas. Here's some eggnog." But if they truly care and love you, they're going to understand, and they're going to respect you on that. And,
I agree.
They would just leave it alone. They wouldn't try to pressure you to be overly, festive, or at least they shouldn't. And if they do that, then you gotta be able to stand up for yourself and say, I love you guys. Normally, I enjoy this kind of thing, but just right now, I just want to observe.
Yep. One of my favorite holiday movies is The Grinch with Jim Carrey. And you remember that scene? That it was actually in the beginning of the movie. What's interesting about that movie is it kind of adds a whole bunch that wasn't on the book. There's a whole pre-story to that story, if you think about it. Like, if you remember the story, he was given an award. He wasn't sure who was going to go down there, or to Whoville, I think it was called, right? Whoville, mm-hmm. I think so. He decided to go down to Whoville to be part of the Cheermeister, all those things. And against his better judgment, he went, and he got an award. And then it was very obvious in the movie that the Grinch did not want to participate fully in what the Whos were doing.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with what the Whos were doing, but he just wasn't feeling it, for whatever reason. And I think we find out later in the movie that he had his heart broken, whatever. But what the Whos then did is kind of what society does to us, is they say, well, you're not happy. What's wrong with you? So then they forced it on him. And if you remember, they were forcing him to eat. They were forcing him to participate in the parade. They were forcing him to participate in the party. And that's what tipped him over the edge. So rather than acknowledging what the Grinch was going through and trying to identify with what he was going through, they pushed him the other direction, which caused Christmas to be stolen by the Grinch later on. So it's just kind of it's kind of a parallel. I mean, but it is a parallel to what, what's interesting about that movie is it kind of mirrors what society does, right? Is it tells us this is what Christmas should be for everybody, regardless of your circumstance. And that's just not fair to some people.
Grinch, was this true?
I think it was.
Let us know.
So, yeah.
Let us know. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going to bring you an onion next time I see you.
Yeah. So my hope for people is that the week of Christmas isn't about it. This particular episode isn't about productivity or clarity or psychological jargon. It's about being steady. It's about taking one moment of rest, taking one moment of honesty, and one moment where you realize that you're allowed to be exactly where you are, in spite of the fact that society puts a lot of pressure on us over the holidays. And it's okay to not be all in for Christmas this year.
I'll admit, I myself, in some of the days, I have not been all in.
Yep.
And that's different for me, but it's okay.
Yep.
It's okay. And people, the people that are close to me, they accept it.
Yep. And so I would encourage people that wherever the season finds you, be gentle with yourself.
I like that. Merry Christmas, Josh.
Merry Christmas, John.
Merry Christmas to you. And we will see you next year.
Oh
my gosh. Yes. All right, guys, take care. Hope you had a wonderful 2025. Thanks you for being with us. And we're excited for you to join us next year as Dr. Josh gives out
Move the train forward.
Move the train
forward. Yeah, you're really hyping me up.